Hi, I'm Lenny, a Flutter and data enthusiast. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Google Admob to show ads on your Flutter app. We're going to look into banner, interstitial, and reward ads. Let's get started. So in this tutorial, I'm assuming you have your Firebase app set up and that you have a Google Admob account. So we are going to start by creating our app in the Google Admob and setting up the ad units for banner, reward, and interstitial ads. Let's get started. So we set up our app there. So our app is set up. We're going to need this app ID. So let's add our ad units. So we'll set up the banner, the interstitial, and the reward ads. Start with this. Okay, now we have that done. We need to go to our app and our setup, begin our setup there. Now here you should have your Google services all set up, and I should have added all the settings to your build grid or files. All that you should have done when you're setting up your app on Firebase. So we are going to use a package called Admob Flutter. I'll leave a link in the description. It has a bit of setup, so let's have a quick look at that. So here is their wiki. Again, the link is in the description if you're interested. Let's look at the installation. So we'll start by installing it, adding it to our pub/spec YAML, then adding these settings in our Android manifest. Alright, so it's been added here. Next, let's set up the Android manifest.xml and the info.plist. This you can just copy paste, then replace the settings with replace the values with your real values from Google Admob. You just need the meta. Should be within application. Okay, so the app ID, we have that in our Admob settings. Now that we have that out of the way, let's set up a helper class to store the different settings. It's going to be a rather simple class. It's only going to hold the settings, so we'll just add some static properties to it. For the banner ID, we need to go to our add units and copy the IDs. They are right here. So we have our ad manager. It just holds the different settings. We need to link our app to Firebase, our Admob account to Firebase. For that, you need to come to app settings and come here at the bottom, link services Firebase, link to Firebase. So the name of your app, you can find that in Firebase. That's basically this. Go here and copy them. It's basically this package name here. Okay, so there, it's done. Now once you have your app in the App Store, you need to come here and link it to Google Play. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is initialize the Admob Flutter plugin. So come here to main. We're going to initialize it here. Again, this you can just lift from the wiki. Okay, so we need to add our app ID here, so we can just call our ad manager.app ID. Alright. Next, we are going to set up our homepage. We'll remove the default homepage and set up our own. Now we need to stop our app and restart the build. Okay, so it's restarted. Let's replace this with a scaffold. Alright, so we'll begin by setting up the banner ads. So we're going to show a banner ad at the very top. Also we'll add a list, but then for every few items we are going to show a banner ad. Let's continue. We'll replace this with a column. Okay, so there we have our banner. Next, let's set up our, you can see the ad right there. Next, let's set up our list view. Okay, so we have that. Let's wrap it in an expanded so it shows. Right, so we have our list of 50 items right there. So for every, let's say for every 12 items we are going to show an ad. Let's set up a large banner this time. Let's restart our app. Okay, so here we see our ads showing up. Now you may have to restart your app in order for them to show up. So we have that first one there. We see on the 12th item it again shows. Scroll a bit further. We see another one showing here. Now we don't want them seeing two ads one after the other here, so let's add a check for that. Okay, so we don't want them seeing an ad right at the top, two ads, one after the other. So next, let's set up the interstitial ads. Next, let's set up the interstitial ads. Interstitial ads cover the entire app screen, so they should really be shown between natural transitions in your app. For example, if it's a game, when a user completes a level, before they go to the next one, you can show them the ad. If it's an e-commerce app, maybe after completing a purchase, you can show them the interstitial ad. So in our case, we're just going to set up a button, and when the button is clicked, we'll show the interstitial ad. Okay, next let's set up the interstitial ads. Interstitial ads cover the entire app screen, so they should really be shown during natural transitions in your app. And also be careful not to spam the user. An example of a natural transition is if it's a game, when they're moving from one level to the next, you can show the ad. If it's an e-commerce app, after they complete a purchase or something like that. So in our case, we're just going to set up a button which when clicked will show the interstitial ad. Okay, let's set that up. Okay, so when that button is clicked, we'll show the interstitial ad. Now interstitial ads need to be loaded before they're shown. You need to do that early on in your app, so they are ready to be shown when the user when you need to show them to the user, they're already loaded. In our case, we'll set them up in the init state. So in our init state, let's initialize that. Okay, so we've initialized it. Next, let's in our button, we'll now show our ad. Okay, so in our on pressed, we are going to check if the interstitial ad is loaded. If it's loaded, we are going to show it. Let's do that. Okay, let's do a restart of the app. Okay, so I forgot to do the load, to call the load function, so the ad is actually loaded. Okay, so the interstitial ad showed. I've noticed that on the emulator, its performance is really poor for some reason. Okay, so that's the interstitial ad. Next, we'll set up the reward ads. Next, let's set up the reward ads. They, like the interstitial ads, they're supposed to be loaded before they're actually shown. So we'll do the same thing. We'll initialize them here. Okay, then let's add a button here for it. You can just copy this and edit the logic. We can add some space here. Okay, so for the reward ad, you can add a listener so as to know when the reward has been given. In our case, we'll just show a snack bar once the reward has been given. For the reward ads, you can add a listener so as to check when the user has been rewarded. So you can give them, for example, if you had decided to give them a new skin or access to a special weapon or something like that, if it's a game, then you can do it in that listener callback. Let's set up the listener here quickly. It takes an Admob event and a list of arguments. So we are going to check if the user has been rewarded. If they've been rewarded, we'll just print. In our case, we'll just print. In your case, you'll do something more complex. So let's test the reward ads. So we have our ad showing. Okay, then let's check in our console if the user was rewarded. Okay, so we see our log here. I'm not sure why search doesn't find it, but now at that point you will give the user their reward. So the ads are a good way to make money out of your app. That's how you set them up. I hope you learned something. See you in the next video.